So I'm checking out a mod I found on Nexus Mods that claims to boost performance in Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater by up to 50%, especially for low-end PCs and the Steam Deck. So let's test that and see if it actually works. Now, I already covered Metal Gear Solid when it launched. At the time, the game could kind of run at 30 FPS, but only with the lowest possible settings, and I asked the question if it's actually worth playing this game on the Steam Deck and if it's gonna be enjoyable. It did not look great, but it was playable, at least in the early areas. Now, once you progress further though, FPS would often drop below 30, especially in the forest area. So overall, it just wasn't a great experience on the Steam Deck, and I couldn't really recommend it. Now, even back then, there were already some early performance mods floating around, but they only gave maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 FPS bump. The other day, I found a new one that could actually make a noticeable difference. Now, this first clip is from a bit further into the game, still in the forest zone, but we have played for a couple of hours. You can see the FPS dropping to 24, 25 FPS, sometimes even lower when rotating the camera. This is on the absolute lowest settings and with TSR set to balanced. This is what I would previously suggest you play at if you wanted to play, and it would run at around 30 FPS in the beginning, but now we're dropping to 24 FPS. I really wanted to turn on global illumination because, in my opinion, for this game, global illumination really helps with the visuals. It makes the game look far more modern, but it absolutely tanks performance, and with it we're in the low 20s and even dipping under 20 FPS. That's just walking around, not even in combat, nothing much happening on the screen. Now once things heat up or explosions happen, it's completely unplayable. It is an Unreal Engine 5 title, so the Steam Deck understandably struggles here. I then bumped it up to medium, so everything is on medium textures, shadows, global illumination, and the performance tanks and drops below 20 FPS with heavy stuttering. So yeah, out of the box, this is really not enjoyable. Next, I jump into a different mission. This is a nighttime section inside a complex. This time I wanted to stress it more, get into combat and see what the worst case scenario looks like. Again, without the mod, the game dips to 25, 24 FPS during fights and heavy action. This is again on the lowest settings. So unfortunately, it is not playable. It will hinder your gameplay. If you play on the highest difficulty, I would say that it's not only not enjoyable, it's pretty damn impossible to beat the game like that. Now I've installed the mod and installation is super simple. You just have to copy the provided files into the games folder. It doesn't lock any settings, so you can still tweak everything in game as usual. And I'll show you how to install it. It's super easy. And immediately you can see the improvement. We're getting around 37, 38, 40 FPS even before combat. And during firefights, it drops to the low 30s, maybe 28, 29. But it is 30s instead of the low 20s. So that's a roughly 7 to 10 FPS gain in real gameplay, which is a big deal here. I think staying above 30 FPS most of the time makes the whole experience much smoother and actually fun to play. Now let's go back to the same forest area from before to compare directly. On the same ledge, spinning the camera around, previously we had 28 to 30 FPS, now we're sitting at 41 to 43 FPS, that's roughly a 10 FPS boost on average. I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison. On the left side it's without the mod and on the right side it's with the mod. I'm using again TSR set to balance here. It does cause a little ghosting around Snake, but overall it looks cleaner than FSR, so that's why I've chose this. In my previous video I do a deep dive between FSR and TSR, and I would suggest you use TSR specifically for this game. And next I also bumped global illumination from low to medium with the mod turned on, and I think it drastically improves the look of the game. The lighting feels way more natural, and even then we're looking at 36 to 38 FPS, dipping into the low 30s only occasionally. Now before the mod, the same setup would drop into the low 20s. So yeah, this mod actually does deliver close to that up to 50% claim depending on the area. Now in brand new saves, if you just start the game or in less dense zones, you can even see close to 50 FPS, which is absolutely wild. Now in order to achieve this, the mod obviously does something with the graphics, and the graphics may be a little bit degraded. But honestly, to my naked eye, when looking this on the Steam Deck screen, I couldn't see much of a difference between before the mod and after the mod. So it does do something. Technically, I'm not really sure what the mod changes, but it works and that's good enough for me. I then pushed everything to medium, shadows, textures, global illumination, still keeping TSR to balanced, and we lose about 5 frames, averaging around 30 to 31 FPS in the forest. but it will dip to 27-28 FPS in some heavy scenes. I stumbled upon this place in the forest that just dropped to 26-27 FPS. I think that's still perfectly fine for this kind of slow-paced stealth game. However, I do want to keep it above 30 FPS, and if you tweak some things, like let's say we keep global illumination on medium, we leave textures on medium, and we put shadows on low, you will maintain 30 FPS almost everywhere, and honestly I think that's fantastic for this game on the Steam Deck. Now I think the mod does exactly what it promises. It's super easy to install, safe to use, and it noticeably improves performance without breaking anything. Now how to actually install it, I will have a link to it in the description. You can download it from Nexus Mods, and it will be an archive with a couple of files that you need to install in the games folder. You can find the games folder really easily by going to desktop mode, opening Steam, and right clicking on the game, and you can click manage and then browse local files, and after that you just want to place it in this particular folder that I'm showing on the screen right now. Since it keeps the game above 30 FPS most of the time, it's also a great candidate for lossless scaling if you want even smoother motion. Now keep in mind, lossless scaling introduces some UI artifacts with this game, like this particular part of the UI in the bottom left turns into spaghetti once you start moving, and you're gonna notice a lot of distortions on Snake's head. If that doesn't bother you, the combo of this mod plus lossless scaling can make Metal Gear Solid Delta play beautifully on the Steam Deck. I want to give a huge shout out to the mod creator. Thank you for making this possible. It's always awesome seeing community mods bringing heavy games to the deck in a playable form. If you've been sitting on Metal Gear Solid Delta, if you already bought it and you weren't sure if you're gonna enjoy it on the Steam Deck, wondering if it's worth trying, I think this mod will absolutely make it worth playing on the deck right now, and it's kind of making me change my opinion, and I can now sort of recommend it on the Steam Deck. It's not gonna be the best experience, but it is much better than when it originally launched. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more Steam Deck content, and when you're done with the video, maybe you can check out the Steam group and Steam curator page where I post performance breakdowns and reviews of all the games I test on the Steam Deck. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.